Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Last night I managed to collect over 1,000 liters of water, or over 250 gallons. Do I need all that water? No, I only need a little bit to top up the rain barrel in the plant room. I'll get a bucket and fill up the barrel in the plant room, and then I'll have to get out a hose, run it out to the backyard, and drain the whole tank because it's supposed to get quite cold tomorrow. Okay, let's get this bucket filled up here. What's it sitting on? Ice. I guess can't do much about that. Alright. Get that in my barrel in the plant room. Alright, bucket number 2. Alright, bucket number 3 now. This will be bucket number 5 and the last one, and my barrel will be full. All right, in goes bucket number 5. I probably could use one more bucket. I think I'll get one more bucket. All right, in goes bucket number 6. And that is full. Let's head back outside now and I'll begin work on my Boxwood Bonsai. You can see from the puddle here that it's raining out and the day's getting colder, so it'll turn from rain to freezing rain and then eventually snow. And we're expecting quite a bit of snow tonight. In the front garden here, I have several boxwood trees on the go. I've got this large one here, and then behind it I've got a few cuttings that I took off of this one. I just cut them off and stuck them in the ground and they rooted and grew. So those will be coming later on. I'm going to try and dig the boxwood up this spring and the other ones and probably create a forest. I'll get my pipe hooked up here. Everything's sliding. Okay, try it there. Turn it on. You can see the water level up here. So there's 1,000 liters. It's just above that mark. I got my hose running back here. And I've got to stretch it out a bit. It's so slippery out here. The water's coming out now. So let me just... It's got a kink in it. Out you go, kink. There. And I'll put it, drain it off here. Okay, so that should work. I turned the heat on in the greenhouse this morning. It was hovering around freezing. So I thought, you know, I'm going to be working in there today. I better have a little bit of warmth. So let's go in and see how it's doing. Feels quite nice in here. It is 11 degrees Celsius, or what is that in Fahrenheit? 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's a look at the trees I'll be working on today. They're boxwood trees, and there's 2 of them in the pot, and I got this from the grocery store for $1. I'm going to be pruning the top of the trees today, also root pruning and repotting them. There'll be small steps in the long journey of this grocery store boxwoods becoming a bonsai. I can hear the freezing rain on the roof of the greenhouse. Now I'm going to start today by getting the tree out of the pot. It should just pull out like that. I'll turn the pot over and set the tree on top. You can see the entire pot is full of roots. That's amazing. I'll want to comb away the soil and try and find how far down the root base is or where it starts. These are usually planted as cuttings and they just stick them deeply in the soil. So there may be a trunk that goes down into the soil. it's a possibility anyway. So I'm just combing away the surface soil here, trying to find where the actual root base starts. The other thing I want to find out is if these two trees are actually one tree that comes off a common trunk, or if it's two separate cuttings in the pot. I noticed on the tag that this tree originally sold for $12. Wow, it's a pretty small tree for $12. That's all I can say. I've encountered a couple of roots that are quite high up, and I don't see any other roots, so I'm going to snip those off. They're out of the root plane. So that comes out. And then on this tree also, it has a root that's quite high up here. And there's no other roots coming off the trunk at that level, so I'm getting rid of that. I think I'm getting down to the actual root base here. I'll do some more combing just to make sure, but it looks like there's, the start of a radial root base there. But I better make sure, you never know. These boxwoods do root easily, so it could be, the actual root base may be down lower in the pot here, or in the soil. The trunk is still going down. I have another root out to the side here that's quite thick, but it's still going down. I'm thinking it goes deeper in the pot still. Boxwoods usually have a really nice root base, a lot of fine radial roots. They're great trees for bonsai. I think they're totally underutilized. I'm going to get out the root hook and just try and sort these roots out. There's a lot of tangled roots down lower. So I'm kind of combing out all the crossing roots, keeping all the roots nice and radial. And it also thins out the root ball so you get more oxygen into the roots, so they're not all matted tightly in there. It kind of opens it up. Just like the top of the tree, you don't want it too congested or you get problems with mold and fungus and air circulation. Same with your roots. If they're too congested and packed in there, you get problems with, getting air and water down to the roots. So this tree will be staying in the greenhouse after repotting, where I can control the temperature, so it probably won't be going much below freezing at all anymore. I think I can keep the greenhouse above freezing for the rest of the winter, which is good. Okay, I think I've got the roots kind of sorted out. I'm going to do some combing now with my root rake. All right, so I'm thinking that is about where the roots start. I'm going to try separating the two trees now. So here I go. It's coming apart quite easily. There we go. So there are two trees. I didn't get much more trunk on this one. I might get a little more if I prune away some of the upper roots, but not much. It basically, the roots start right where you see them. It's going to be sort of a clump style unless I prune away some of these trunks. Very long roots. I'll do a little more work with my root hook. Try and sort some of these roots out that are really matted in here. Yeah, these roots are going quite deep. They're not kind of spreading radially. They're going straight down, which is too bad, but okay, there's the one. Now I'll try and comb this one out. Well, here's the root base on that one. So definitely the cutting ends right here. And then there's, several roots out of the root plane. It's a good start though. It's got lots of fine fibrous roots that we can sort them out, prune them up, and eventually get a really nice root system on the tree. Okay, let's clean up all this soil and roots. We'll come back for the root pruning. Here's a look at the 2 boxwoods now. So now that I know how long the trunks are before the root base starts, I can look at each tree and pick out a style for it and get them underway. Let's start by looking at tree number 1 here. So you can see it has a very short trunk, and then it branches into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 trunks. It's an odd number, so that's kind of good. I'm just pruning off the remains of that root there. So a very short trunk, and it divides. Now, the one that grows straight up the middle is the skinniest, and the thickest trunk is the one that comes off here. So I mean, my only choice really for this tree is to grow it as a clump style. I mean, I could prune everything away and keep one trunk line, but I think a clump would be best. I'll water the roots just to keep them moist while I'm working on the tree. So a clump style, I think that's the most suitable style for this tree. So I've got to determine how high I want my trunks to be before I start getting foliage. So usually, you know, the general rule is your trunk is 1/3 the height of the tree, and then the foliage is 2/3. So, you know, if this is the height of my tree here, I would want my trunks to be bare up until about this point. That's just a general rule. You don't have to follow those rules. I mean, you can have branches come down really low if you want. It's up to you. So let's have a look here. I don't want branches. You can see there's a little branch on the inside here. I'm going to prune that away. I don't want it cluttered down low. I just want my major trunk lines. There's another stub I can prune there. This branch on the outside's fine. It's fanning out. There's one on the inside here I can prune away. Get rid of that. This one is also fine. It's fanning out on the outside. There's one kind of crossing here. It grows directly towards another trunk line, so I'm going to take that one out. Like that. Now boxwoods, if you do major work on them, like if I was to cut off this whole trunk here, this scar would take a long time to heal. They're not really fast healers. It would eventually, if I kept growing the tree, eventually that would heal, but just taking some lower leaves off here. But generally, you want to keep your pruning to a minimum, and that way you'll avoid large scars. Here's another branch going up the inside of the tree. I'll get rid of that one. Another one here I can get rid of. Now on this trunk line, you can see it fans out, and then there's one growing straight up from the inside. I can take that one out, so I will. Like that. That would make a good cutting too. There's one kind of crossing here. I'll get rid of that one. Remove some of these lower leaves on this little short one here. I'm slowly cleaning out the structure. Now this one, I guess that sort of fans out. It kind of goes at the top of it. It comes up, and then there's one growing in towards the outside and one that fans out more. So I'll remove this part of it. Keep my better ones. That's okay. There's one growing here off of this trunk that's crossing. It's not really fanning out. I'll get rid of that one. You can see this trunk line. It comes up, and then I've got one that crosses. It comes back in towards the center of the tree, so I'll get rid of that one. Going to be taken out. And then on this one, it comes up and then it divides into two here, which isn't so bad. I mean, you can have it divide. This one comes up. I've got a branch here and another one directly above it. I think I'm going to take the lower one off and keep the upper one. Like that. There's a trunk line coming up the inside, or a branch. Take that one out. Okay, so I'm keeping lots of foliage on the one that's growing straight up the middle, because you know, eventually that will create the crown of the tree. So I think I've got everything kind of fanning out nicely. I'm just looking from above here, kind of looking down at the tree. I think this branch could come out. It's a little too cluttered. Now you can see this one will grow up nicely, this one, these ones. There's another one coming towards the inside here. I'll get rid of that one. That. This one too. This one. I think that's about it. It's looking quite nice. Now I kept this lower branch here, some of these lower ones. It's nice to get some subdividing. They'll fan out and create sort of an umbrella canopy eventually. I'm going to prune back. We're going up into the upper canopy now. So I want kind of an overall height and shape. And do I want it sort of an umbrella canopy or something different? Let me think. I think what I should do, if I'm trying to equalize the vigor in all these trunks, is the thinner ones I'll just leave alone, and the heavier ones I'll prune. So I'm going to do that. So this is my heaviest trunk line here. So I've got to take some foliage off it. I'll take this little shoot off here. And I'm going to, it's already been pruned here. I'll take the tip off here. And there's another branch coming off of it. I'll reduce that back. You can see the buds here that are forming. That'll be this year's spring growth. Now, I can take a bit of vigor out of this part of it. I can take the whole top off here, like that, and then use this shoot as my new leader for that branch. Okay. So my second most vigorous trunk line, I think, is this one. So let's reduce a bit of vigor in that. So come up top and I'll prune this way. So I'm dividing from 1 into 3 here. So I think I'll take this one out and reduce this one back. This one a bit more. There. And there's one growing towards the inside here I can take out too. Okay, now my next most vigorous trunk is this one. So I'm just going to take a little bit off the tops of them. Like that. And that should equalize the vigor a bit. I wonder if I should. I'll keep that one. Okay, so that's all the pruning I'm going to do on the tree, except for the roots, which are a bit of a mess. I'm going to try and, all these roots that are going straight down, I'm going to try and rearrange them so they're kind of fanning outwards. So let me just clear away all this foliage here. I'll keep all my cuttings that I'm going to plant. These ones. Okay, so back to the roots. I'll try and sort them all out. They're all kind of tangled, pointing straight down, so I'll try and fan them out if I can. All right, now I'm going to do a prune around the edges just to get it more compact as root base. And that's about it. I've got this large plastic training pot that might be suitable for these trees. I'm not sure I have enough soil to fill it though. I'll have to check. Well, I checked. I definitely don't have enough soil. I have enough to maybe fill the bottom layer. That's it. So I'll have to mix up some soil. I think this pot will be quite good. I can fit this tree, the other tree, and some cuttings in the same pot. And there, you know, it's a good sized pot, so the root system will grow quite nicely over the summer. Should develop the trees a little more quickly than if they were in a smaller pot. All right, let's have a look at tree number 2 now. So tree number 2 comes up. I think I'm going to prune away this higher root. Give me a little more trunk. And there's one over here I can remove. And then I think we're getting down to the root base. Maybe I could take one more off here. Yeah. Another one. Another one bites the dust. Do I dare take enough anymore? I better leave it at that. So, let's look at the trunk now. It comes up. It divides from 1 into 3. Do I want it dividing from 1 to 3? I don't think so. I'm going to take off the weaker one here. Like that. So now I'm dividing from 1 to 2. This trunk line comes up. I've got a branch coming out here. I've got one here. I don't want these two branches opposite each other, so I'll keep my thicker one and get rid of this one. I've got another one growing from the base here. I'll get rid of that. Just keeping this one. And then I've got to decide. I've got a shoot coming off here and another one here. More up here. I could reduce this back shorter, and I think I will. I think I'll take it off here. Like that. Kind of a side branch. There's one going towards the inside here. I can remove that one. Another one here going to the inside. Get rid of that. So now it comes up, it divides into 2 here. And again, there's another one growing towards the inside there. I can remove, and this one. This one's fanning out, this one's fanning out. Again, up here I'm dividing from 1 to 3. So I better pick my best branch. This one kind of comes between these other two, so that one's nice. This one, there's nothing really in this direction on the tree, so I think well, I'll keep this upper one, remove this one. That way I get this one coming out this direction and this one out this direction, so it kind of fills in the canopy from above. And now I'm coming up again to another division here of 1 to 3. So I'm going to prune out a bit of deadwood here, and I'm going to prune out the third one up the middle, like that. Take that right back. So I'm dividing from 1 to 2 now. Get rid of this little one here. Prune my tips off. Here's another division of 1 to 3. I'll move the inner one. 1 to 3 again here. I'll move this one. Prune back these ones. And this one. Prune this one back. And prune this one back. This one divides from 1 to 3 here too. I better take out the middle one, I think. Like that. Reduce this one a bit. I'm going to take out this one, I don't like it. Okay. Now, if this is my main trunk line, I've got this one branch here I've shortened this one. Maybe I should shorten this one back to here. I think I will. Kind of keep this main canopy growing up here. Take one out here on the inside. Take the tip off here. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Let me clean up and we'll prune the roots. All right, let's have a look at the roots. So I pruned off some of those higher roots. I think there's one pointing straight down here I'm going to get rid of. Fairly thick one. I want my roots to spread out radially. That gives you a nice flare at the base of the tree. Gives you nice surface roots, which create a really miniature looking tree. I'm just going to prune off these really long ones. And I've got some sorting out to do here. Again, the roots want to grow straight down instead of kind of radially, but eventually we'll get them going the right direction. Yeah, so that's... I can prune a few more of these roots going down, but other than that, I can't really do too much at this stage. That'll do. That'll do. That tree can be planted. If only I had soil. My little box trees are all pruned up and ready to plant, so I'll mix up some soil and then I'll get them in the pot. It's still raining or freezing raining outside. I'm going to mix the soil up in the other greenhouse. That's where all my supplies are. So I'll grab my soil bin and we'll head out to the polyhouse. All right, here I go. I've got everything I need in the polyhouse here. I've got reptile bark, I got pumice, I've got perlite, and I got lots of turfus. So I'll get the soil mixed up and we'll get planting. I'll get my mask on while I'm mixing up the soil. Protect my lungs. Well, that is the first time I've ever mixed up soil outside in freezing rain. My hands are frozen. I gotta warm them up. I'm going to move the 3 cedars that I moved out on the bench to get, rained on. I'm going to move them back into the greenhouse. I think I'm done there for now. I've got all my soil mixed up, so they can go back inside the greenhouse and we'll get back to repotting. There's one. Let's get the other ones. Oh, they're heavy. One more to go. Those pots are a lot heavier once they're all watered. They must have been quite dry, the soil, before. All right, back into the greenhouse for repotting now. All right, I'll get a base layer of soil in the pot. Now, I'll probably fill it at least halfway full. So here I go. I better get my mask on again. Sometimes it gets a little dusty when you're putting soil in. Okay, here I go. Here's a look at my soil mix. So it's half perlite, half his safety zorb, and then I throw in about 10 or 20% this reptile bark. All right, in go the trees now. Now I'm going to kind of pick a front for this tree. I don't think it matters too much, but might as well kind of pick a side. That looks pretty good there. Let's go with there. I'll try and spread these roots out as much as I can. Sort of like that. And then in the pot it goes. Now I'm just trying to see if that height is good. I think it is. If I planted about that deep, yeah. I will want to plant them quite deeply because, you know, I want these roots to develop radially. I don't want them keep growing straight down in the soil. So there's kind of the position of my one, and then the other one will go somewhere over here, and then I'll place the cuttings around it. So let me get my root rake, and I'll just comb out these roots before I start adding more soil. Make sure they're nice and radial. Okay, that looks good. Now I'll get some more soil and fill it in around the tree. Now, I need another hand. Maybe I can do this. All right, here I go. Okay. Now, tree number 2, well, I think somewhere around here would be the front. So I'll put it in right here. Comb out those roots. Now it'll grow lots of more roots in this soil. Boxwoods like a free draining soil. Okay, here I go. I'll fill it in. It's looking good. And I'll have to work that soil into the roots. The roots are very fine and the soil is very coarse, so I'll have to make sure I get it kind of worked in. I'll use my scissors, they always worked. Just kind of get the soil in around the roots there. I think I'm going to have to add more soil too. It's feeling more stable in the soil already. Like that. Really hear that freezing rain come down. That is feeling really good and stable in the pot. I think that is good. Okay, I've got to add my cuttings now. So here's my cuttings, and I want to prune off the lower leaves on them. So I'll take those off. To there. So I've got the cutting ready, and then I'll just place it in the soil. I'll just put it nice and deep down in the soil like that, and then I'll prepare the next cutting. So I'll remove all the lower leaves once again. Let me just move this back. Now this one has some branches down low. I think they're too low, so I'm going to prune them off to maybe there. I'll take this one off too. this one. That's a good cutting. Okay, so this one will go right here. Kind of give each cutting its own spot of sunlight. And then, do I have any more? I've got a little one here. Just strip the leaves off with my hand and put that in right here in the corner. And then I could also plant some of these smaller ones. Again, I'll just strip the leaves off. Maybe one in the back corner here. Like that. I could put one in this back corner. A little one here. When I do plant the forest eventually, it's nice to have a variety of sizes of trees. That's why, you know, I'm growing some little ones here. One out front here. And, you know, maybe some of them won't make it either. You never know. No harm in trying. Okay. So there, I've got all my cuttings planted. The next step is to water it. All right, here I go with the water now. And hopefully everything will grow well in spring. And someday we'll have a nice boxwood forest using that one that's in the front garden. Actually, there's a couple in the front garden. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get a nice variety of sizes of boxes and I'll make a nice little forest. Looks like my cube is fully drained. So I'll take my wheel away. Put that back there. Take my hose away. And I'll just leave this valve open. I had fun today taking my $1 grocery store boxwoods and getting them underway to grow as bonsai. That's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.